Joseph, welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Woman faces backlash on Instagram for confessing that she does not see the point of girls' trips. It's going to be a really good video, interesting video, especially for my guys on here who are in relationships. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
You know, as a middle-aged woman, I get on social media sometimes to kind of give like my viewpoints and things I wish I had known 10, 15 years ago as a woman. But sometimes I have questions of my own. One of them is, what is the point of a girl's trip? I honestly do not understand it. Now, I know I'm a loner. I'm an introvert. I get that. I don't even have any friends. But if I did.
That's sad. Why don't you have any friends? Let's keep listening.
I still don't think I want to go on a trip with him. I like to be taken care of. I like stuff to be paid for me. I got heels on, hold my hand, make sure I don't fall, open the door.
I do want to say, my bad, guys. I do want to say this. She said, as a middle-aged woman, the older you get, the less motivated usually people are in general of making friends. And so, you know, relatable to an extent. Let's keep listening.
For me, pay for me. Find me a chair while you go find us a table, you know, whatever the case may be. Like, y'all want to be passenger princesses, but you want to go out with all queens. How can I be a queen and be taken care of like a queen if I'm out with only other women? I need my man on my vacation. I thought part of the reason or the benefit of a vacation is to engage in certain adult activities in a new locale, if you get what I'm saying. I can't do that on no girls trip. So somebody please help me understand, because girls trips were not a thing back in the day. I'm 46. My mama ain't never went on no girls trip. It just wasn't a thing. So maybe I'm missing something. So younger women, can y'all chime in for me, please? I'm confused.
All right. So she says when she was younger, girls trips weren't a thing. And do you know what's so interesting? I've had this same exact conversation with other people. I don't remember my mother going on girls trips. I just do not remember that. But in today's generation, you swear that if a chick does not or cannot or is not able to go on some type of a girls trips, then she will die of some unknown illness. It's like the act of removing a woman's life out of her whole existence. These women who just can't let go of the whole girls trip narrative. So now let's address the elephant in the room. She posted that on social media and faced backlash. I think she was pretty nice. She wasn't really going hard on chicks who embrace girls trips. She just basically said, I've never seen the point of it. I love to hang out with my man. If I go out there, I can't engage in adult activities away from my man, is what I hear her say. And modern women online didn't like it. These younger ones didn't like it because we know most of them are 3 or 4s. Yes, I said it. You heard me, right? We know this because they tell us this and they try to act like things don't go on that their boyfriends, husbands wouldn't be okay with on those trips, for example.
So this is what y'all be doing on
me
these
and my
girls'
partners
trips.
did. We came to and go. If you just going and not, hey, baby, you might need to wait for the church retreat. You might not need to come on this trip.
You ain't gotta everybody do what they want to do. I'm pro-choice.
No, because when you're not pro, you're anti. I'm sorry. If you're not pro, you're anti, and you are not welcome up in here. We are supporters of suckers.
You can go check out that video for yourself. It's titled "Girls Trips Are for 304s. Don't come if you're not ready to cheat on your man." Typical Chisha Zed title there. I think I've got another one too where a chick is basically saying, come on, women, we know what we do on these trips. Women have been honest about what happens on those girls' trips. But regardless, let's get into these comments. Let's see what women had to say and the problem they had with what she said. This first commenter says, the difference is you are male-centered. So this is like feminist rhetoric here. That's why you don't have friends. And that is okay as long as that makes you happy. So she's saying if you had female friends, you would go on girls' trips. Well, then I would go back to that other point she made. My mother had female friends. Her friends had female friends. They didn't go on girls trips. They didn't feel like if they just didn't go out to party and whatever, and they would literally die. And so here's where I have some advice when it comes to this situation. First off, when it comes to this topic of girls trips, if you're a guy who's dating right now, this is a type of topic that you want to bring early on in a relationship and share that you have strong opinions when it comes to girls trips. If you don't and you don't care, it doesn't matter. But it's important if you're dating today, you want to bring up the fact that you disagree with women having girls trips. If you disagree, if you don't disagree, then it really doesn't matter. It's not for you, right? So I'm not here to convince men to not let their girls go out. I don't care, bro. But I'm assuming that if you watch this content, I've talked about this many times, then you also are the type of man who doesn't understand why a married woman needs to go to a club where they are only playing music and drinking alcohol and shaking their cheeks.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Which leads me to a very important point here I want to make when it comes to dealing with the topic of girls trips within relationship. And I'm kind of hijacking this topic to talk about this because I feel like a lot of men would benefit from this. It's important that if you're in a relationship and you have a problem with girls trips, that you define what a girls trip actually is. You will end up having to do that. If it hasn't happened yet, then it will happen. You tell a woman, because most modern women today, even the ones that are marriage material, and yes, they do exist. No, they don't, Chisha. Yes, they do. Even her, she may lack certain understanding when it comes to girls trips. She just may disagree with you. And just because a woman may disagree with the point doesn't mean that she won't be able to respect you and not cross that boundary. And so you have situations with guys where they'll meet a woman and she'll say, okay, well, if that's something that you feel strongly about, I am willing to work with you. And I will no longer go on girls trips, etc. And from that point on, she knows what to expect within the dynamics of that relationship. There will come a point, though, where you have to define what exactly a girls trip is. Here's my 2 cents. Because what will happen, guys, is a chick will be like, well, what about if I'm in the same city and I'm at a hotel room getting drunk with a bunch of single girls and there's guys there and we're spending the night? I mean, that's not a girls trip. We're not technically traveling. And they will try, bro. They would try. And you might say, well, if she tries, then she's not. No, it's just in the nature of people to want clarification. And this part of a relationship, a working relationship. You have to define what a girls trip is with a lot of women if you are seriously dating. Now, if you're not dating seriously for a long-term relationship, it doesn't matter. You don't care what she does. Because as far as you're concerned, you're not looking for exclusivity. So I'm not talking about that type of a man. I'm talking about the type of man who's out here dating a woman and he wants a serious relationship. You're going to want to define what a girls trip is. Roughly put, most people would say a girls trip is like some place where there's a lot of drinking, partying. Usually people are staying overnight in some place, but the focal point is partying, drinking, and some trip where you're staying overnight. Once that's defined, which that's a very loose definition, but once that's defined, you're going to have other issues like, well, can I go out with family? I don't think there's any problem with a woman going out with family. There's just certain things you're not going to be able to control, and you don't want to stop people from being able to hang out with their family. That's not the point here. The point here isn't about control. You can't rule with an iron fist, right? You have to be reasonable to some extent. If you're a guy who wants to put an air tag and track your chick and hire a private detective, well, I can't help you. Right? I don't agree with that. But I do think within reason, a woman who drinks coffee will respect and understand that there is some truth to the whole being in a situation where you are impairing your judgment with alcohol, where you are vulnerable to men who have access to you, the influence of friends, drinking, partying. there is an element to that where you're leaving your relationship vulnerable to you stepping out. Because if you went to a strip club as a man or did the same thing with a bunch of single girls, it would be a problem. And I agree. And the main goal here is to protect the relationship, not to stop your woman from having fun, but no, to understand that, like, hey, I wouldn't go on a trip with a bunch of single friends drinking. And if I do, I may be liable to step out. And any person who says, well, that's crazy, you should never step out, really lacks a healthy fear of human nature and our ability to make mistakes if we don't guard that darker side of ourselves. And so once you define what a girl's trip is with your woman, what it looks like, you'd be surprised how many people have different definitions. She'll say, well, babe, if you think that's what a girl's trip is, that's not what it doesn't matter. This is what we're defining right now as this is a girl's trip. I am not okay with that. What do you think? Well, I still want to do those things. I still want to go party and dance and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I guess that won't work for me because that's not the type of relationship I want. And you are allowed to have opinions, standards as well, bro. But most women who drink coffee in a reasonable will say, okay, cool. Now we have gray areas. What if we don't drink? What if we're just going wine tasting? What if we just do this? In that situation, this is just my 2 cents to you. It's best to set that up as, okay, anything that's in the gray area, if we both agree, me and you, that I'm okay with this, and you say I'm okay with this, on both ends, then that's a green light for either you to go on a trip as a man or her to go on a trip as a man. Because you may get to situations where you're okay with that situation. It's a gray area. It doesn't fall within those definitions of a girl's trip. There's some advice to my guys who are in a relationship to approach this in a practical way so that you're not out here being defined as a dictator. Because that's how they want to make you seem if you're not allowing your woman to go twerk on some guy in a club somewhere in Dubai. Check out more comments here from other people. Another comment here says, I've been with my husband for over 20 years. We have 3 sons, 19, 17, 14, and I'm a doctor. My identity has been wrapped up in all that for so long, I didn't know who I was. It's scary. A girl's trip gives me an opportunity to just be me. These trips are absolutely necessary. And it looks like she's got a husband who's okay with that. Now, would I be okay with that? Absolutely not. Within the definitions of what I consider a girl's trip to be. Women partying, getting drunk, etc. And God knows what they're doing. And let me tell you something, man. She may not be out there participating in that, but you never know what influences her friends may have on her. Another comment here says, this just makes me cringe. I don't understand how people who've never experienced the thing automatically determine that the thing they have never experienced unnecessary. And since your mama didn't go on a girl's trip, that means it just wasn't a thing back then. Girl, if you don't see the point in having women friends, just say so, but don't make it seem like a woman can only have a good time if a man is around. Come on now. All right, so they're fiercely defending their girls' trips. Girls' trips are for 304s. At least that's what this next commenter says, who said girls' trips are for thotting. 200 plus likes on that comment. Adult activity with random men. And so the actual creator who made this video responded back to him and said, maybe. She goes on to say, hell, I'm starting to believe y'all men how these women acting in these comments. Yes, they fiercely defend the girls' trips. Here's another comment that says, it's always a red flag for me when adult women wear it as a badge of honor that they don't have any female friends. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of chicks today who have more conservative values or are not modern women have fewer female friends. Goes on to say, not sure how that even happens considering you're almost 50 years old. Oh, is that age shaming? Come on. Another comment here says, girl, with a laughing emoji. As someone who's absolutely obsessed with my man and we travel quite a bit, a girl's trip is different. At least for me, I still have my best friends since middle school, and this is a time where we catch up. go shopping, and do all the things we like. Yeah. Of course, we know how some men don't like doing certain girly activities. So a girls' trip is the perfect time for these type of experiences. Somebody else here says, I should have known this was going to be BS as soon as I saw that Candace Owens hair density. I also want to acknowledge, man, that a lot of these chicks who are against women who are more conservative when it comes to girls' trips and they don't really support that type of stuff are usually married. That's most women I've noticed. So it's the single women who are waiting for the guy who are gonna accept this type of behavior. Now, of course, here we're seeing a mixture of both, but that's what I noticed in general. Here's another woman that says the women never answered her question, only put her down. So y'all really proved or gave her perspective validity. She says in response, this is the creator, she says, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to inflame the situation any further. So thanks for saying it. However, a lot of women did give respectful insight. Somebody else here says, a woman who's single in her profile picture, you should always have an identity outside of your husband. Marriage, kids, and career. Connecting with your friends, doing the things you love to do, enjoying some healthy and needed time away from the day-to-day is some of the benefits of a girls' trip. Now, I actually agree with what she's saying. You should have an identity outside of your husband, marriage, whatever. You should do other things. You should hang out with other people, have friends. Some people just really don't need that, and that's cool. But I think there's nothing wrong with that, and I think it definitely is a healthy thing to have a community around you. But I don't like how she's framing this as if you're somebody who doesn't believe in girls' trips, then you don't have an identity outside of your husband. It's like you can find satisfaction with those things outside of like a girls' trip, right? Another man here says the insults you've received for simply asking women a question should confirm to you why hanging around a bunch of women for days in a foreign country has to be extremely draining. She responded and said, draining is the right word. Guys, what do you think of this video? I'm curious to know. Leave your comments down below. As always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.